Welcome to this short demo on the new features in GeoTeric 2017.1. In this release, we're introducing our new adaptive interpretation system with regional structural awareness to allow you to interpret horizons and faults in a much more efficient manner. We've also extended our well functionality to include well correlation and seismic to well ties, and I'm going to start by showing you these features. The well correlation panel allows you to view, interpret, and correlate your well logs. The wells can be aligned according to depth, individual markers, or in a user-controlled manner to enable you to interact easily with the information in the different tracks. In this example, we have a reservoir with two sand layers that change thickness as they go up dip. We've interpreted the top and the base of the two sands and have placed the appropriate markers. The lithologies have also been assigned accordingly simply by right-clicking. Both the markers and the lithologies can be correlated by dragging from one well to the other. To correlate the well logs with the seismic, a synthetic is generated and can be displayed on the well panel along with an extraction of the seismic data along the well path. This allows us to see the seismic response to the reservoir and also to tie the seismic data to the well data using either a stretch and squeeze method or using sonic calibration. This generates a new check shot which can be used for displaying the well data in the 3D scene when the seismic data is in time. The other key piece of functionality is the new adaptive horizons with regional structural awareness. The adaptive horizons are aware of all the potential routes through the data, which gives them a regional perspective. They're not simply looking in a trace-by-trace manner, they're correlating all the routes across the data. So as soon as I place a single pick, it works out all the routes, which means that I get a preview. And as soon as I move my mouse, I can see the different lines and potential routes through the data. So this gives me a preview of my interpretation picks. If I just pick this top Pyrenees event that we've got coming through here, we can see how as soon as I place the line in one direction, it's visible as an interpreted line in the 3D scene. If I interpret now in the cross section, again, it gives me the preview line and I can see when I need to place additional nodes and when I can just let it track and follow the data automatically. This means that I'm using less mouse clicks and have to place less seed points because I only need to place them where it's visible and apparent that they need to be. At the moment, as I'm tracking through the data, I've also got the option to fill as I track switched on. This means that as I'm going through, it's filling in the surface behind. So this starts to fill up the surface and gives me my horizon as I'm interpreting it. Not only that, but as I'm interpreting and as I'm building up my horizon, if I'm concerned that I might be mispicking or I'm not sure whether I've got the right ties across the fault surfaces, then I can simply data map onto that event and see how the data, in this case I'm going to map an RGB blend, and we can see how that looks across the interpretation, and we can use this to QC and identify any areas of mispicks in the data. This is done on the fly and will automatically update as we're interpreting, so we can leave that on as the interpretation grows. I've now turned off the ability to fill in the background because I want to show you this full line tracking option. Because of the regional structural awareness, the adaptive horizons know about all the other routes and where all the other interpretations. So when I'm on full line mode, it will always join up with my existing interpretation. I can also preview any edits and changes, so if it doesn't go where I want it to go, I can simply move my mouse and the yellow line will show me the alternate routes through the data, but it will always connect up with the existing interpretation. So I can go through and continue to build up a grid in a systematic way, and if I just bring up a grid that I created earlier, This grid, I've used I've created a section of grid lines in one direction. I want to now go through and fill in the grid lines in the opposite direction. Now we would normally have to go in and tediously fill in all the different sections one by one. But with the adaptive horizons, we have the option to complete the line. So just by clicking one button, it will complete the line and join up all the previous interpretation. If it goes somewhere that you don't agree with, you can simply overwrite it and reposition the interpretation so that it's more in line with your interpretation of the data. So this allows you to build up your grid very, very quickly and very efficiently. Now that we've got a grid, we can start to fill in the gaps and look at tracking as a way of filling in the different zones. But before we do that, we also have the option to use or to interpret in a 2D interpretation window. So the 2D interpretation window allows us to view exactly the same data as in the 3D scene, and the two are completely linked up. Any interpretation that you do in the 3D will appear in the 2D and vice versa as well. It also has linked cursors, so as you're moving across the line, you'll see the other one updating. I don't have much space in here for the 2D interpretation window to be open on just one screen, so I'm just going to close that down and focus on the 3D view. In addition to the interpretation window, we have the base map, and again I'm just going to dock this on the side, and I'm going to use this to control the area that I'm filling in. So I could fill in just a small focused area, which I could use the probe to control, for example, or in this case I'm just going to select the entire survey and fill it in with a low acceptance level. So this is taking just the most confident zones in the data. And we can see that the track has pulled out the areas that match our initial seed points most closely. All the different lines are used as seed points, so it's tracking the waveform from all the lines. And you'll see that the interpreted lines are green and the track lines are yellow. Now I can go through and accept these track lines, and if I do that, then they'll add to my grid and give me a denser grid, and these lines will then be used as seed points if I do a subsequent or another track from those lines. So now if I open up my acceptance level, I'll get a more solid surface using all those grid lines as the starting point. Now in this bottom right hand corner, there weren't very many grid lines, and you can see in one place it's actually done a mispick and it's dropped down earlier than I would want it to. So again, with our option to do the 3D edit, what we can do is just simply reposition that where we want it to be by picking along on either side where we want the event to be through the zone we want corrected, and that will now update in 3D, and the whole block will update because of this regional structural awareness. So you don't have to go through and edit and then repick and reseed and do it in a very tedious multi-step way. You simply pick where you want it to be and it will update in 3D very, very interactively. So wherever there are areas that are mispicked, you can simply go in and adjust them very, very quickly, and they'll update in 3D. Once you have your surface and your adaptive horizon and you're happy with your interpretation, we simply create that into a solid surface, and that will now give us a surface that we can use in any conventional way to data map on, to use for sculpting, to use to create our isoproportional horizons and our horizon packs as well. So they can be used as you do any other surface in GeoTeric. But I mentioned at the start that this was an adaptive interpretation system, and it's the same unified system for both horizon and fault interpretation. So the faults are controlled within the same interface. The adaptive faults will be coming out later in the year, but they'll be using exactly the same features and functionality as well. So you'll be able to use the same controls and the same methodology and be able to track your faults instead of your horizons. So simply by using the piecewise tracker to track down your fault layers like this, or using the full line options, you'll be able to track on the reflectivity data or on the fault volumes, fault attributes, CMY blends themselves, in order to pick out your faults and to build up your fault interpretation. So it is very much an integrated horizon and fault system that allows you to build your structural framework in an adaptive and very interactive manner. So the adaptive horizons are out now in the June release, and the adaptive faults will be coming along later on in September. So GeoTeric's 2017.1 release now gives you access to the powerful adaptive horizons for faster and easier seismic interpretation, alongside the well correlation panel to fully integrate your geological information. And all of this is available in our core interpret module. If you would like any more information about the GeoTeric 2017.1 release or about any aspect of GeoTeric, then please contact us either through the contact links on the website or by emailing info@geoteric.com. Thank you very much.